There's a 100% legal IRS loophole gold and silver investors are missing right now. Hold these metals the wrong way, and you could face a 28% collectibles tax. But the right structure changes everything. After 25 years as a tax attorney, helping over 30,000 investors move over $5 billion through IRA Financial, I'm breaking down why buying gold and silver is a smart strategy and how to buy gold and silver the smart, tax, and efficient way. There are several precious metals you can own in a retirement account, but here are the two that should form the foundation of any metals allocation: gold and silver. For over 5,000 years, gold has been considered a strong store of value in money. In fact, before 1970, the United States was on a gold reserve, meaning the United States government was not able to print $1 without having a reciprocal amount of gold. Now, that would have come in pretty handy during COVID when we printed trillions and trillions of dollars, which has led to this increase in inflation, lowering value of the US dollar, and this gold rush, which I've personally seen in the last couple of years when I've had thousands of clients look to embrace the opportunity of buying gold. The good thing about gold is it cannot be printed or digitally created like Bitcoin. It's a great hedge against inflation and the US dollar debasement. It's crisis insurance. War. We saw what's going on in Iran. Banking stress. Sovereign debt risk. Central banks hold it as reserves. Very, very important. That says everything you need to know. Gold is also a psychological stability asset. When confidence drops, gold rises. So what drives this demand? Well, of course, it's central bank buying, whether it's China, Russia, India, diversifying from the USD, inflation expectations and money supply growth, dollar weakness, geopolitical instability. One last important factor that is driving the demand for gold that's not getting a lot of chatter is fear of AI. The fear of job displacement and economic disruption has been a huge factor, I believe, in the last several months for why the demand for gold outside and inside a retirement account has significantly grown. I have a very unique view on gold. Really, up until the last couple of years, I've not been a huge believer in the gold asset. I've owned a little bit of gold dating back to around 15 years ago in physical form, but I haven't been a huge gold proponent because I didn't love the fact that there was really no income stream. And I wasn't really worried about inflation. I wasn't really worried about the status of the US dollar and the global economic environment. That's changed really since COVID. And over the last 5 or 6 years, I've put a lot more of my personal and retirement money in the gold marketplace, specifically in physical gold, although I do have some ETFs. Now, in the retirement world, I've bought gold in a Roth IRA, and looking at where the world is now, I'm very happy I've bought gold, and I will continue to buy gold. Silver has really seen a significant amount of popularity in the last few years, and it's always been the Robin to gold's Batman. So why is silver becoming more and more popular? Well, it's definitely cheaper and more affordable than gold, so it's an alternative to gold. It also has dual role, right? It's monetary, and it's also a very important industrial metal. It does have higher volatility, which some people like, has a higher upside in a bull cycle because the concept is it's cheaper and has more room to grow. So what's driving all this demand? Well, a lot of it's industrial. It's solar panel production, which includes silver components, electronics, EVs, industrial manufacturing, and of course, retail investor demand during precious metal rallies. People like the potential upside of silver because it is less expensive than gold. The idea is I can buy a lot more silver than gold, and I think there's potentially a lot more runway to go up, so I'm going to invest in silver. Personally, I think silver just has a little bit more industrial risk than gold. I view it as kind of a satellite allocation, more cyclical. I personally don't own any silver right now. When it comes to precious metals, I'm definitely more of a gold fan than a silver fan. So what percentage of your portfolio should you put into precious metals? Generally, I would say around 10 to 20% of your wealth should be in metals. If you're an investor like myself, worried about inflation or dollar risk, I think higher than 20% is important. Now, again, I'm a tax lawyer. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not giving anyone investment advice. But what has worked for me in the last couple of years is I have really taken a bunch of my allocation from equities and fixed income specifically, especially bonds, and I've moved them into gold. In my opinion, gold is the best hedge against inflation, and that's where, from a diversification standpoint, I've put more than 20% of my allocation into gold. Diversification is one of the keys to building wealth. And if you want the complete strategy of how I do it, check out this video where I cover the biggest wealth building advice that I've ever learned in my career. Link is in the description. Should I be adjusting my diversification strategy based on age? Well, yeah, I think so. Younger investors, generally, you probably want lower allocation, more growth focus. If you're 50 or older, like myself, I truly believe higher gold allocation for capital preservation makes the most sense. For retirees, gold really acts as a very important portfolio stabilizer. So let's say you're ready to start buying precious metals. The question is, do you buy paper exposure through ETFs or do you buy physical metals? So let's start with paper assets. When I say paper assets, I actually mean ETFs and certificates, exchange traded funds, not physical metals. So not physical bars, but something you could buy and sell on a stock market like an exchange traded fund. And there are several ETFs, GLDs, silver, palladium, even platinum ETFs. What are the advantages of ETFs? Well, there's liquidity, right? You can buy and sell them anytime you want. Super easy. There's no storage costs, right? When you have physical metals, you need somewhere to put them. And if you have an IRA, you're going to have to put them in a depository. They're very easy to buy in a retirement account, right? Everyone's got an account where you can easily buy and sell ETFs in your IRA or 401k. You can also have fractional ownership. You don't need to have the whole bar. So what are some of the disadvantages of having gold in an ETF, non-physical? Well, again, you don't own the physical metal. It's a lot like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin ETFs, you just own an interest in a fund. You don't actually own the Bitcoin. Same with gold. You own an interest in a ETF, an exchange traded fund, not the physical metal. You have counterparty risk. What if the fund fails? Possible. You have management fees that do eat into your returns. So now let's turn to physical assets. When I say physical gold assets, what do I mean? Well, I mean something you can touch, tangible, like a bar, coin, bullion. What qualifies? American Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, bars from approved refiners. What are the advantages to having physical gold? Well, the most important in my mind, true ownership. You hold it. So if things go really bad in our society and we need a hedge, you have an actual bullion. You have gold coins. You have something tangible, maybe a gold Rolex, something real. You don't have any counterparty risk. You have crisis protection. That's my biggest concern for gold, okay? I want to have gold as a hedge. If things go really, 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 really bad in our economy or the global economy, I have something of real tangible value that has had real tangible value for over 5,000 years, or at least a few thousand years. I want to hold that. So what are the downsides of having physical metals? Well, you need to store them somewhere. You could store them at home, but maybe not as secure as somewhere safe, like a true depository. But remember, in the case of an IRA, which I'll get to in a few minutes, you actually have to hold them at a regulated US depository. You cannot hold them at home. They're less liquid, right? They're much harder to sell a bar of gold or coins than clicking sell on your Robinhood app or your Schwab app. The spreads, you have to be very, very careful when you're buying and selling gold, especially when you're buying. This is something I tell my clients. Even though gold is regulated by the CFTC, the gold dealers are unregulated. I mean, my 15-year-old kid can sell you gold if he wants. So you have to make sure what you're buying at what price. And there's no excuses now because you can go online and check where is gold trading. It's a very liquid market. So you just want to make sure you're buying it at the right price. And here's a tip. Be careful of the hidden commission lines when someone says, oh, I will sell you gold at this price. And then at the end, they say, oh, by the way, I'm taking 15, 20, 30% commission. Be careful. That happens all the time. When I talk about owning gold, I'm referring primarily to investment grade bullion, not high markup collectible or numismatic coins. Many retail investors are drawn to rare coins marketed with scarcity premiums, but those premiums often have little to do with the underlying gold value, and they can significantly increase the bid-ask spread. Coin industry can be markup heavy, numismatic coins often overpriced. I prefer bullion over collectibles. So now you know how to buy gold and silver, but you need to know how it gets taxed because this is where investors lose money and pay way too much in taxes. Let me start with brokerage accounts, ETFs, taxable accounts when you're not using retirement money. The IRS classifies gold as a collectible. And this is super significant for owning gold in ETFs or even physical gold because you're not going to get the lower 15% or 20% capital gains tax rate for long-term capital gains investment. You're going to get the 28% collectible tax rate for capital assets. And that 28% will go to 37% maximum tax rate if you hold the ETF or the physical gold, for that matter, less than 12 months. Gold ETFs are structured as grantor trusts in most cases, and holding physical bullion are generally treated the same way for tax purposes, right? An ETF is essentially a fund, a pass-through. So the IRS treats you owning the fund as actually owning the gold from a tax purpose. Now let's turn to retirement accounts. In my opinion, owning gold, whether it's an ETF, whether it's physical gold in an IRA, is a huge tax opportunity. Why? Because you're going to take that 28% collectible tax and turn it to zero, zip. Because when you own gold, silver, or other metals in a retirement account, you do not pay tax. Section 408M of the Internal Revenue Code allows retirement accounts to own gold because it does not treat them as collectibles for investment purposes. So it is treated like a capital asset, like you're buying stock or real estate. Hence, when you buy gold or silver or palladium or American Eagle or other approved coins in an IRA or a 401k or even a Roth IRA, you pay zero tax, whether you hold the gold for a minute, a day, a year, or 50 years. That is the huge advantage of owning metals in a retirement account. Now let's turn to ETF metals. When you buy ETF metals in an IRA, you can buy and sell it, whether you buy it and sell it the next day or the next year or 5 years later, no tax. When you pull the money outside of an IRA, so once you're 59 and a half and you take the money out, you do have to pay tax on what you pull out. Now here's a catch. Under Section 408M, if you want to hold physical metals like gold, silver, palladium, not ETFs, physical, real bars, you have to hold them at a U.S. depository. So you can't hold them in Switzerland, and you can't hold them in your house or a safe deposit box in a bank. You have to hold them at a regulated U.S. trust company. At IRA Financial, we've been doing this 16 years. We've helped thousands of clients buy gold physically, and we help you with this whole process. We have depositories we work with. We have record keeping, and we have the annual administration you need. So all you need to do is worry about buying the gold, deciding when you want to sell it, figuring out what other metals you want to buy or invest in, and we take care of all the annual administration and safekeeping. By the way, most people don't know that you can use an IRA, a Roth IRA, even a 401k to buy physical gold or silver. Why? It's because big banks want to control how you invest your money. But you can use your IRA to invest in other alternative assets in addition to precious metals like real estate, cryptos, or even private companies. I'm sharing everything I learned and practice with myself and my clients on this channel to help everyday Americans build wealth like the rich. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And one of my next videos is on the single best tax shelter for the wealthy, Roth IRAs, my favorite. Speaking of Roth IRAs, let's talk about how you can use your Roth to invest in precious metals. The only way to own physical gold in a retirement account is through a self-directed IRA. An IRA at Schwab or Fidelity will not let you own physical gold. You can buy gold in an ETF, no problem, or maybe a gold mining stock, but you cannot buy physical gold. The only way to do it is through a self-directed IRA and through a company like IRA Financial. And here's the advantage of the Roth IRA. When you own an asset, whether it's real estate, whether it's stock, whether it's metals like gold, in a Roth IRA, all your income and gains go back to the Roth IRA tax-free, just like a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k that you may have at work. But here's the catch with a Roth IRA. So long as you're 59 and a half and the Roth's been open at least 5 years, you can pull whatever you want out of the Roth IRA as a tax-free distribution. So if you need some money to go to Hawaii, buy yourself a car, buy yourself a house, buy me a present, buy yourself a plane, whatever you want, you can do it tax-free. And that is the best legal tax shelter out there. From my vantage point in the self-directed IRA industry, I've seen a meaningful increase in retirement investors reallocating towards physical gold, especially in Roth accounts. I'm structurally really long-term bullish. I've seen what central banks are doing like China and Russia, and I just think that that is going to contribute to an increase in the price in gold. And when you couple that with all the global uncertainty, to me, it's a really no-brainer to have between 10 and 30% of your allocation in gold, preferably physical gold. Even if we see pullbacks, I view them as consolidation, not trend reversal. Gold is reasserting itself as a reserve asset alternative. I don't buy gold for speculation. I buy it for monetary insurance. I'm also quite bullish on silver, but not to the same extent as gold. I do think there's more runway for silver, and obviously it's less expensive than gold, but for me personally, my allocation is more towards gold than silver. If you're finding value in this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe. I release videos every week on retirement strategies, tax optimization, and wealth building that most financial pros won't tell you about. When building a precious metal strategy, the first step is determining your objective. If your goal is true crisis protection and long-term monetary insurance, physical gold held inside a Roth IRA, in my view, the most powerful structure because it combines tangible ownership with tax-free growth. If you're primarily seeking portfolio diversification and ease of management, then ETFs inside of retirement can be efficient. If your focus is short-term speculation or tactical trading, ETFs in a taxable brokerage account offer liquidity, though you must understand the potential 28%, not 15%, but 28% collectible tax exposure. For privacy or tangible ownership outside the financial system, a small physical allocation of gold purchased with cash can definitely make sense. In terms of metal selection, conservative investors often favor a gold-heavy mix, around 80% gold and 20% silver, while more aggressive investors may add platinum or palladium for volatility. Passive investors, they may simply hold gold or silver ETFs in a retirement account. Execution depends on structure. For physical metals in an IRA, work with experienced self-directed IRA custodians, because a self-directed IRA is the only way you can actually own physical metals in an IRA. For ETFs, they can be purchased through any brokerage account. And for direct cash purchases, make sure to use reputable dealers and understand the premium over the spot price. When you step back and look at the full picture, tax treatment, ownership structure, and long-term wealth preservation, the self-directed Roth IRA clearly stands out as the only way to legally own physical precious metals with zero tax on future appreciation. There's no 28% collectibles tax rate, no capital gains rate, and no ordinary income tax on qualified withdrawals. In today's environment of persistent inflation, a weakening US dollar, rising debt levels, and the unknown economic impact of AI disruption, holding physical metals inside a self-directed Roth IRA is not just a tax strategy, it's a disciplined security hedge against the financial headwinds facing our economy. And if you're thinking bigger picture about tax strategy beyond just precious metals, retirement accounts, deductions, and legal structures, please check out my video on how wealthy investors legally reduce their taxes. The link is in the description. And if you need more support, there's a link in my description to book a consultation on how to use self-directed IRAs to invest in what you want. That's the best way to reclaim control of your money, your future, and your legacy. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.